Essentially what happened was, right, I have posted a clip from last week's podcast about this filmmaking course that I became aware of, and I appear to have been given an email by someone who they claimed that their partner was a member of the course. Right now, I have no way of personally verifying this information. I did a reverse search on the words of the email, and it didn't come up as being from an article or from anywhere else. I want to very much specify heavily that this could very much be someone fucking with me personally, playing a prank on me and trying to see if I will report on something unscrupulously, in which case, you succeeded. I'm about to do it now, but I've said that in my another video that I made recently about how if I talk about a news story, particularly if I'm giving my opinion on something and more information comes to light, I like to follow up on that. It brings me no pleasure to be the one breaking this. I'm not, as hard as it may be to believe, I'm not a little drama gremlin. I want to clarify as well that some people took the videos that I made as a anti-traveller thing, and they got racist with it and thought that I was signalling that I was that type of a person. I think a large part of my disappointment towards one of these course leaders is that they are giving a bad name to the traveling community. I might have said it before. I've said it before on TikTok, so I might not have said it on the podcast, but I have roots, I have heritage in the traveling community, and I feel like running something that seems so suspicious is just not a good look. It's reflecting poorly on the entire community, and I just want to clarify that I'm not in that camp of this being a racial thing. This is more a personal thing with the business that they're deciding to run. It was sent in by someone whose email address was anonymous, essentially, because there was a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, that would have been signed at some point along the way. So the person who sent it to me wants this out there, wants this information spread. So I don't know, I feel like I'm doing my due diligence as a bit of a wannabe journalist these days. 3 months ago, an opportunity appeared to be a breakthrough for a group of emerging creatives. They had auditioned for a 3-month feature film course led by a well-known name in the industry. Despite initial skepticism given the many questionable offerings in the industry, the audition process went well and the feedback they received was extremely positive. The course was advertised as being limited to just 20 participants, including actors, producers and directors. Out of hundreds of applicants, they were among the select few. It felt like someone had finally recognised their potential. I might realise that I'm not able to read very well. Each participant paid €2,500 and attended the open night, eager to begin the journey, only to find that the group was much larger than expected. Concerns arose immediately. Had the numbers been increased for financial reasons? The course leaders later announced that 2 separate films would be produced, each overseen by one of them. This seemed to justify the higher attendance, at least at first. The acting exercises and improvisation sessions were engaging, and everyone involved displayed a high level of talent. However, as the time came to assign scripts and roles, the tone shifted. Certain individuals received noticeably more attention from the course leaders, relatives of the leaders, while everyone else accepted that screen time may vary. All participants had been promised a meaningful role. When the first script draft was shared, many participants read through it only to find they had little to no dialogue. Soon after, one of the course leaders announced that he would be taking on a major role himself, claiming he was reluctant and that none of the participants were suited to it. Regardless of his intent, communication from him all but ceased following the announcement. He was seldom present unless rehearsing his own lines. The change in behaviour did not go unnoticed. It also became clear that family members of both course leaders had been cast in prominent, well-written roles without payment, while many paying participants had been given background parts or non-speaking roles. What had been marketed as a collaborative, merit-based opportunity quickly began to feel like a closed-circle production benefiting only a select few. The group had been promised 3 masterclasses featuring established industry professionals. Only 2 occurred, and these sessions amounted to informal career talks, not the interactive instructional masterclasses that had been advertised. While the visiting guests were appreciated, it's believed that they would have reconsidered their involvement had they known the full story. I'm going to put on a jumper. If you watch my podcast, you know that's the thing I do in the middle of my videos all the time. Fucking cold, man, I'm sorry. Perhaps the most troubling aspect was the overall lack of professionalism. One of the directors was consistently dismissive aggressive, speaking to the participants in an unacceptable and disrespectful manner. Numerous individuals felt deeply affected, with some moved to tears. Many remained silent out of fear, worried that speaking up could damage their prospects in an already competitive industry. But silence only protects the wrong people. Respect must be mutual, especially when payment is involved. This message is not shared lightly, nor is it intended to stir controversy. Rather, it's a warning to others. For all the passion and talent involved, the experience did not reflect what was promised. Artists are encouraged to do their due diligence before committing to costly training programs. Ask questions, speak to past participants, and trust your instincts. Your time, money, and dreams deserve better. When it came down to the 10-day shoot, participants were initially informed that they might only be needed on set for 1 or 2 days, and that there would be no need to take extended time off work. However, this turned out to be misleading. Many participants were called in unexpectedly and left waiting for hours, some from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m, only to be sent home, told that their scenes wouldn't be filmed after all, without so much as a thank you. Many individuals called in sick to their actual jobs in order to be available for filming, trusting the original information they were given. Communication from the producer regarding scheduling was poor or entirely absent, and when participants asked for clarity, they were often ignored. At the same time, anyone who didn't show up without prior notice risked having their scenes cut, regardless of the lack of scheduling. Although a professional crew was hired, even they were shocked by the lack of organisation and the unprofessional treatment of the cast. Some crew members even went out of their way to apologise to the cast for the situation, despite it not being their fault. When it came time to film the course leader scenes, who had a significant role, he was brought in, filmed immediately, and then left the set quickly. This was justified as he's a working actor, as if the rest of the cast didn't have full-time jobs and commitments of their own. The double standard was blatant and disrespectful. Unfortunately, the director's behaviour made things worse. Many participants have described him as a bully, and many cast and crew members have stated that they would never work with him again. The environment on set was not only chaotic, but also demoralising and intimidating for those involved. Director's behaviour towards attendees. While some individuals dismiss this as stress-related, saying, "Oh, he's just stressed," this explanation overlooks a recurring and problematic pattern. The director often snaps at people in a manner that is abrupt and unprofessional, followed by periods of warmth or kindness. This cycle of behaviour is a recognised form of manipulation and creates an unhealthy and unpredictable environment. Unfortunately, a small number of individuals, perhaps driven by desire to advance their careers, have become desensitized to this behavior or choose to tolerate it. Regardless of intent, this contributes to a culture where mistreatment is normalized. The emotional impact has been significant, again with multiple attendees being brought to tears, one individual having suffered panic attacks on 2 separate occasions as a direct result of interactions with the director. The environment is not only unsustainable but potentially harmful, and it is important that this issue be addressed appropriately. Now I'm going to take a pause from reading the email and just weigh in with my own personal opinions and takes here. I feel like, right, the whole setup of this entire situation kind of leaves the liability and the culpability of what happens to the participants in a weird kind of grey zone, because if they were hired work hands and being paid as they should be for actors, there would be like labour laws that must be upheld and that must be adhered to. And if this was a college course in a reputable institute, there would again be regulations and rules for the treatment of the students. Whereas this, because it is in between the two and not entirely marketed as either, there is essentially, it seems to have this anything goes attitude towards the cast and crew members, which, I don't know, if the dynamic was you were paying these people handsomely to work on your project and it was all above board and recognised for what it was, then maybe you could say, well, you signed up for this, this, that and the other. Whereas, no, there is kind of a duty of care here when you are pretending to be a educator of these people, when what you're actually doing is exploiting them. I've done film and TV production courses in PLC level and in degree level, and I always found that there was so much care and consideration given to the being accommodating of the students. You know what I mean? And that's the way it should be.